श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं सदा लोकहिते रतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। 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 ॐ ऋतगं सत्यं परं ब्रह्म पुरुषं कृष्णपिङ्गलम् ऊर्ध्वरेतं विरूपाक्षं विश्वरूपाय वै नमो नमः। ॐ नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात्। Hari Om. A very warm welcome to the 100th class of Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. Thank you very much for all your support and continued interests. Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। We will chant from 45. ॐ ऋतुः सुदर्शनः कालः परमेष्ठी परिग्रहः उग्रः संवत्सरो दक्षो विश्रामो विश्वदक्षिणः विस्तारस्थावरस्थाणुः प्रमाणं बीजमव्ययम् अर्थोऽनर्थो महाकोशो महाभोगो महाधनः अनिर्विण्णस्थ Viштho bhurdharmayupo mahamaka nakshatra nemir nakshatri kshamaha kshamas samihanaha. We were discussing this particular shloka and we had dealt with these names. Today we will have a little more insight on these three shlokas, rather namas, which are very, very important in our life. Dharmayupaha. Yesterday we had mentioned Yupa means, Yupa is that pillar which has been well established on the ground very firmly, and the cows which are to be for the sacrifices are tied there firmly so that they don't move around. This is the practice. Now, how does this come into our life? What is it that we learn from them? First and foremost, any movement is possible only when it is stationed well and it has a base that does not move. In this case, the cows are tied to the pillar and the pillars must be firmly rooted, firmly established, firmly fixed. Only then the cows, even though it might move in the same place, it will not go away. It will not go out of track. Another famous example which is given, all play is possible on the stage only when the stage is firm, when the stage does not move around. Therefore, all our actions must have a base, a firm root, and that which is connected to which is something which is very firm. And with that well established root, we may work in the world outside. Going one step ahead, mind which is very, very unstable, mind which is chanchala, as long as it is chanchala, unstable, fickle, always connected to the ephemeral world, the mind will never be able to achieve anything. This mind must be rooted firmly to a goal or a higher ideal. This goal or higher ideal can be sacred or can be in secular also. Like for example, if I want to become a doctor, then I must have a firm goal. I must become a very well established doctor with proper qualifications and proper knowledge in that very field. Unless I gain that, I will be a disaster in that very field. Therefore, this firm association, firmly rooted goal in the secular world or in the sacred world, one must completely get tied to Bhagavan. When it comes to bhakti, having a firm connect to the higher goal, which is Bhagavan, is very important. When our bhakti is wavering, when our bhakti is not deeply rooted, when our bhakti goes astray here and there, even in bhakti it is possible. It is not that only in the world we go astray. Even in bhakti, if we are not well established in our devotion to Bhagavan, commitment to Bhagavan, dedication to Bhagavan, we also will go in haywire, even in the name of bhakti. Like for example, in our own homes, out of practice, out of habit, since my great grandfather was doing, father did, and then he handed over to me, I also have to do puja. Now what happens? Look at the attitude. If I am not firmly rooted in bhakti, I may do the puja. The urgent, I will finish the puja. Puja, over, finished. Look at the attitude. Therefore, puja does not become a bhakti-oriented activity. It is another karma. And that will never fetch us anything. In fact, it only brings in disturbance. Puja becomes a disturbance when my mind is not rooted in bhakti. When my mind is not well established at the feet of Bhagavan. Therefore, when it is said, Pashuvat Yupe, how is it tied to that pole? It is tied with dharma. And here, dharma is Bhagavan himself, and with dharma I tie myself to Bhagavan. The rope is also called as Bhagavan. The rope is also called dharma. In life, when we are dealing with the transactional world, there are all occasions, every possibility that we slip into adharmic way of dealing with the world. This is the nature of the mind. Mind which is seeking pleasures, which is seeking some gratification, some joy from the external world, will go to any extent to gain that pleasure, to gain that joy, to gain that gratification. And you will find opportunities are available aplenty. When my dedication, devotion to Bhagavan is not well rooted, then my fundamentals will start shaking. When my fundamentals start shaking, I lose track of myself, I lose track of my goal, and I will have no firm life itself in this world. Therefore, even in life, while we are functioning in the world outside, with the rope of dharma, I must tie myself to the Lord. And Lord is eternally firm. There is no two opinions about that. There is no doubt about it. Therefore, that is why Gurudev at one point said, all of us have got two hands. Hold Bhagavan from one hand, with one hand, and work in the world outside with the other. Never lose the hold of Bhagavan, he said. That is exactly what is said here. And how? Samaradhana. Samyak aradhana. Aradhana is what? Worship. I worship Bhagavan while functioning in the world outside with dharmic activities, at the same time with complete surrender at the feet of the Bhagavan. This ability to hold on to Bhagavan's feet through dharma and functioning in the world outside is called yupa. Yupa is what? That pole which is firmly fixed. And therefore, Bhagavan, who is that pole? Who supports everybody who comes in contact with him, comes at his feet, Bhagavan holds them firmly. In the initial stage, we have to get tied to him with rope. Why tied to him with rope? Because our mind goes astray. If we are not tied to Bhagavan with the rope of dharma, then within no time we will lose track of ourselves. We go astray, we will lose our path, and finally destruction is the end. We have many such examples. Even in the Puranas, we have so many examples to this effect where one can lose oneself. Not that deliberately one wants to lose, but the attraction of the world and the weakness in the mind is such that unknowingly we will fall prey. Therefore, we have to be tied to Bhagavan with the rope of dharma. Therefore, yupe pashuvat tat samaradhana atmakaha dharmaha. Look at that. What is his dharma? Dharma is Bhagavan only. Dharma is Atma. So, oneself, we have to offer ourselves, tie ourselves down to Bhagavan and then walk the path. Tatra badhyante. One gets tied to Bhagavan, which is Atma. Iti dharma yupaha. The one who holds the people, the one who is the pole, the one who is the rope also, everything is Bhagavan. We have to only give our mind to that. That's all what is expected out of us. And please note, aghatita ghatana patiyasi maya. Maya is very, very powerful. We can never take ourselves for granted. Therefore, the stronger our devotion to Bhagavan is. In fact, what does that mean? The rope has to be tied properly, strongly. Otherwise, even if we tie it to Bhagavan, if we have not tied it to Bhagavan properly, if our devotion is not complete with Bhagavan, then the rope also will get loosened and again we will be off track. Therefore, Dharma Yupaha, Bhagavan is that pole to whom we have to attach ourselves, dedicate ourselves, surrender ourselves. Mahamakha Yasmin arpitaha yajnaha mukhaha. Through yajna, one offers at the feet, at the yaga, homa, etc. One offers. What is that? One offers oneself, meaning one's ego. Now look at that. Nirvana lakshana phalam prayachantaha. All our karmas with dharma will, when it is offered at the feet of Bhagavan, it will take us where? Now the yajna yagadi karma in those days were performed with certain goal. In certain cases, it is for personal gain. In certain cases, it is for the sake of the world. Samaja sankalpa, samashti sankalpa. For the sake of rain, etc. Homa were conducted. And when it is for anything other than nirvana lakshana phalam, then it is not considered as a great program. It is considered as another activity for certain benefits. And you will find even Chandi Homa in these days, Chandi Homa, all those Homa Havana today, in very many cases, let us give the benefit of doubt to people who genuinely do it. For the sake of, glory to Bhagavan when they do it, it is well accepted. But in general cases, 80% of the cases, let me tell you, it is for lower benefits. In very many cases, Yajna Yagadi Karma like Chandi Homa etc. are meant for fundraising. Think. There are institutions who want to build a big ashrama etc. They require a lot of money. Therefore, people come when it is Homa Havana. People also come. Therefore, they conduct that with lot of labels. Yajaman, this much you give. For this Poshaka, this much. Some list of amount is being put. For what? Not for Nirvana Lakshana Phalam. They are all meant for certain benefits. And they will get that benefit. Bhagavan will bless that. As long as it is dharmic, Bhagavan will definitely bless. No doubts about it. But they do not lead us to Nirvana Lakshana Phalam. They lead us to again the same karma world. Again it leads us only for that particular fringe benefits which we may get. But again, we get stuck there. Why is it called Mahamakaha? Makaha means Yajna. Why is it called Mahamakaha? Because Yajna must lead us to Jnana Yogyata Phalam. It must lead us to Jnana Yogyata. If that is not the path, but that it gets cut off there itself for the sake of Laukika benefits, then it cannot be called as Mahamakaha. It is Yajna. Yajna Yagadi Karma, for certain benefits, there it ends. One step ahead. Again, Yajna is not performed actually. Honestly speaking, it should lead us to Chitta Shuddhi. Chittasya Shuddhayet Karma. There, even if it is for the sake of Swarga. Now, in the first case, it is with the worldly requirements. In the second case, it is for the sake of some loka, like Swarga. Even then, it cannot be called as Mahamakaha. Why? Swarga also is a place, it's a sthanam. And Gita says, Kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. Once that punya aspect is over, one comes back. Meaning what? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Therefore, even that yajna which takes us to Swarga is also not called as Mahamakaha. Then what is it that is called Mahamakaha? That which leads to liberation alone. Liberation from what? Liberation from identification with anything. The liberation of the jiva, which is identified with the sharira, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Our acharya used to call it as camp. What is that camp? Mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, shariram. All put together is one jiva camp, if we may say so. One has to get out of it. For that, a lot of purificatory process is required, and purification continues. Even in case of Kramamukti, purification continues. And from there, liberation has to take place. Moksha has to be enjoyed. Moksha has to be experienced. Until then, Jivatva is there. But Yajna, Mahamakaha is that which leads to purification of the mind and liberation thereof. Right? And he, Bhagavan, is very much waiting to take all of us there. And therefore, he is also called as Mahamakaha, and this particular kind of yajna is called Mahamakaha. Then comes Nakshatra Nemihi, where we said yesterday, Bhagavan is the axis. Again, if we relate it to the previous Nama, just as the pole is firmly fixed, and with that as the support, when we are tied with dharma to that pole, you may still roam around the pole, but you can't go away from the pole because we are tied. Similarly, when we are tied to Bhagavan, mind may roam here and there sometimes, but it will not go away from the thoughts of Bhagavan. Think. Now, Nakshatra Nemihi is what? That axis where the whole universe. Nakshatra is only a representation. Nakshatra is star. Star, planets and all the other bodies which may be in the universe, everything is indicated by the word nakshatra, where this axis. And now see, if there is an axis in a wheel, there is a hub. And that hub should be very firm, isn't it? And there is one axle. And that axle actually does not move. It is the wheel that moves around. Think. That axle, in fact, is very firm, very strong. and holding on to that, the wheel can go any long, any distance the wheel can go. Think. And one more thing. In this case, the axis nakshatra nemihi, that axis is firm and that should not move. That will not move anyway because it is Bhagavan. And when the whole universe is tied to Bhagavan, the world, or rather the universe, runs in its perfect tune. There is no wrong in the universe as far as Bhagavan's plans are concerned. According to our thinking, we may think, oh, this should not have happened, oh, that should not have happened, calamities, why does Bhagavan do this, etc., etc. We may go on lamenting. But Bhagavan's plans are perfect. Bhagavan's way of functioning are extremely wonderful. And now, the next point here we have to understand is, Bhagavan's plans are always for the good of everybody. It is never with vengeance, etc., etc. He always works only for the sake of our good. Therefore, now look at that. Sthitaha Vishnu iti nakshatra nemihi. That axis is nothing but Bhagavan Shri Vishnu, and around him everything takes place. Nakshatri, the next word which we also made a mention, Chandra Rupena Nakshatri, in the form of moon. Again, we need to take this with a clear understanding. Nakshratranam aham shashi, it is said. There are two very wonderful meanings to this. One is, from our standpoint, when we see, when does the moon appear? During the night time. When we see the sky, there are millions of stars, trillions of stars, etc. But what is it that which is the brightest and the biggest? Is the moon. One. Two, it is this moon which brings so much of delight. Isn't it? When you just go around, when you cycle or go by bike or go by car, the moment you see a very bright, beautiful moon, whatever thoughts have been there in the mind, for a minute it stops and we enjoy the beauty of the moon. Is it not? And why does the moon become so beautiful? One commentator in another place very beautifully explains. Many of us, if not all of us, many of us have got this connection towards astrology. And in astrology, that they call it rooms, home. Every graha has got a place in that box. And very interestingly, in fact, this I just read it. I may not, in case if I am wrong or something, you may correct me. It is said, every graha goes to every graha, but they don't enter moon. Moon's place. And moon goes to every graha. Moon moves with everybody, but other grahas don't come near moon. Each one have got their own sthana. Each one have got their own place. And this commentator very beautifully says, moon has no ego problem, therefore he goes to every house. One commentator, his own thought he has given. Idea here to be taken is, when there is absolutely no ego in our mind, we become a delight to everyone. Moon has no delight, no ego at all, it seems. Therefore, he delights everyone. And this way, in fact, we all know, moon has been beautiful source of quietude, joy, delight. Is it not? Night, when we come back from office or anywhere, when we are so tired, you just go up probably in the terrace and sit there watching the moon, stars, etc., you will find that restless mind becomes calm and quiet for some time. No much time you will find mind becomes quiet. It enjoys the presence of the moon. And then we say, when Krishna says, Nakshatranam aham shashi, it only means I am that shashi which delights everyone, which not only brings light during the dark part of the day, I also bring lot of delight, I bring lot of love, I bring lot of joy. And therefore, aham shashi, nakshatranam. Therefore, he is called as Nakshatri, the Lord of Stars. One may say, Swamiji, moon is such a small thing. How can it become the Lord of all the stars? As we said, from here, looking at from our standpoint, moon is the one which seen very big and it delights us. Therefore, Bhagavan must have taken, now that this is their experience, let me take that itself and convince them, delight them. Therefore, he says, Nakshatranam aham shashi. There are so many other meanings to it, which we will see when we take Bhagavad Gita in detail. Alright. Kshamaha. This is where we were actually we rushed through this point because of time factor. Kshamaha is embodiment of patience. For me to forgive, Kshama means forgiveness, no doubt. For me to forgive anything or being, normally being, I must be firmly rooted. I must be firmly rooted with extreme patience. Only when I lose patience that I will not be able to forgive anybody. Pujya Swami Swarupananji, who is now the global head of Chinmaya Mission, very beautifully he has given one talk on forgive and be free. So long as I don't forgive, so long as I hold on to that agitation in my mind, the first person who suffers is me only. Not even the other person who is supposed to have, according to me, supposed to have made a mistake or something. If I have not forgiven them, he would have grown over that, grown out of it also. But I will not be able to be at peace because I have not forgiven. Think. Acharya says, Samasta karyeshu samartha kshamaha. One is being efficient. The second one is kshamate iti va kshamaha. Here, more often, the second one is related more. Of course, indeed, the first one is extremely important. Samasta karyeshu, in all the actions, whatever we do, samartha, meaning who becomes an expert, who becomes very efficient, who is capable in all actions, is the one who succeeds in any field of activity. What does this mean? First of all, I must be firm-footed in whatever I do. I must understand why I am doing it. I must understand what am I doing. I must also know how am I doing and with what attitude am I doing. If these are not clear, then my commitment to the actions will not be clear, will be very wavery. And in fact, you will find very soon I will lose interest. Very soon I will give up. Arambhashuraha, it is said. Some people are very, very good in starting something, but by the time they go 20%, they have lost. All their energies, enthusiasm have drained. Why? Because there is no clarity in that action. When there is no clarity, you cannot have love. We cannot have commitment. that devotion, that dedication, all these cannot come if we are not clear. Therefore, I must first be clear. I must increase my efficiency. Very beautifully, Gurudev, Parampujya Gurudev Chinmayaniji says, efficiency is the capacity to bring proficiency into expression. What a beautiful statement. What is efficiency? All that proficiency which I have gained through gaining the knowledge, when it is put into practice in the field of action, then I become efficient in handling it, and the deared or asked for results will definitely come. Why am I not gaining the result what I want? It is because my commitment, my efficiency is much lower. One has to increase that. And this ability to become capable, to become efficient, to become an expert in that field is called samartha, which is also called kshamaha. One meaning of kshamaha is samartha. But by and large, what people have understood of this word kshama is forgiveness. And yesterday we took the example of the earth, Mother Earth. She never retaliates unless it goes beyond her, or rather, she has enough patience unless we go beyond our limits. To teach us a lesson, sometimes you will find the Bhumi Mata as though rebels. How? One shake, earthquake. Think. Otherwise, who is Bhumi? Bhumi, the Mother Earth we call, extremely patient. Why should she be patient? Look at the atrocities we do. The amount of noise we create. Just because the earth does not come back on us, we do whatever we want. Isn't it? Now latest, this one, abuse on earth is land grabbing. For the sake of what? For the sake of money, for the sake of our own sensuous pleasure. Think. That is only in terms of land grabbing. But look at what all we do. All the mining, etc., 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 beyond the limit. And yet, Mata, Bhumi Tai is so very patient. Think. Samudra Vasane Devi Parvatasthana Mandale Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Padasparsham Kshamasvame. Hey Devi, hey Mata, I am putting my foot down on you. Please forgive me. Why? Because I have to take care of my Nitya Karma. Therefore, for that sake, I put my foot down on you. Please forgive me. With that bhavana, when we treat the world also, that Mother Earth will bless us. Think. That much of patience. That is why in the Shruti it is said, Kshamaya Prithivi Samaha. When it comes to forgiveness, it is like Prithivi. One must quietly endure. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam satitiksha nigidyate. Endurance, forbearance, it is nothing but the most important value which will take us towards the Lord. Otherwise, the restless mind, agitated mind, frustrated mind will always be in turbulence. And will have no capacity, no ability to reach Bhagavan. Therefore, Kshamaha means that which is patience. Forgiveness is possible only when the patience is there. Otherwise, forgiveness is not possible. We may act, we may utter words like forgiveness. We may outwardly say, okay, chalo, I have forgiven you, go. But do we really forgive honestly? Think for yourself. So many times we carry the burden of other people's mistake, not forgiving them. And even the thought of such a person can disturb me. Even the thought of such a person will make me feel so agitated. And I am in pieces, all my peace is gone. Think. Therefore, the best way is from the heart of hearts, from the bottom of my heart, I forgive. In fact, who am I to forgive? I am nobody to forgive. Why? Like that, hundreds of mistakes I make. Is it not? It is Bhagavan who is the real authority for Kshama. So when we say Kshamaha, it is Bhagavan who is the authority who forgives all of us for all our mistakes and still accommodate us, still embrace us with love, still embraces with what is called as Vatsalya. Like how a mother forgives her child. Why? Because of that pure love towards the child. Think. How much ever the child may make mistakes, mother says it's okay. She will treat the child well. She will make the child understand what the mistakes are. And then at the same time, she will never reject the child because she is mother. When we say Mother Earth, in spite of what we are, she accommodates accommodates us, is it not? Therefore, the best way is forgiveness. And forgetting it also. Not only forgive and forget. Kshamaha. Kshamaha. What is Kshamaha? Sarvakareshu kshapiteshu. Now see that? Swatmana avasthita heti kshamaha. In every modifications of work, he remains firm. As what? Swa atmana avasthitaha Bhagavan. In him all modifications takes place, but he is not modified. He is avikara rupaha. And in him vikaratvam takes place. But he is immutable, imperishable. He has no vikara, he has no end. Therefore, kshamaha avikaraha sarvakareshu kshapiteshu. Kshapiteshu means in everything there are modification, but swa atmana avasthitaha iti kshamaha. One who remains in his own pure nature, true nature, as the immutable self, as the imperishable self, Bhagavan is called Kshamaha. Samihanaha, the last nama of the shloka, the 444th nama on this 100th day of our Vishnu Sahasranama gives us one of the best meaning. What is that? Srishtyadyartham. Srishtyadyartham is one example. Samyak ihataha iti samihanaha. Iha means cheshta. Cheshta means what? Action, work, movement. So many meanings we can give. Every action is born out of desire and there is an effort. These actions which are born out of desire and performed with effort must be perfectly done. Now look at that. Samyak ihanaha, perfectly performed. The optimum and efficient functioning in acts like creation is for Bhagavan. But how do I relate myself to that? As it is said in the Gita, which is stated here, yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Dexterity in action is yoga. Bhagavad Gita says, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarma kriti. Not even for a fraction of a second, those jivas which are born can stay without action. Param Pujya Gurudev says, action is the signature of life in an organism. Therefore, action, there is no choice, you have to act. But the quality of the action, the attitude of that action is definitely in our hands. When we perform every action with the right attitude, with proper understanding and extremely efficient, then we will find the action will not only give us the desired results, it also will give us the quietude of mind. Such efficient functioning is called samihanaha. It can be applied to every action, right from preparing a coffee to any action what we perform during the day, to every action whatever we may perform. Everything what do we do, whatever we do, we must do it well. Better than yesterday is a very beautiful way of looking at it. I have been doing, yes, we do make lot of mistakes, but every time we improve. We consciously improve. When we consciously improve and when we gain that ability to improve with understanding, then there is no fallback. Why there is no fallback? Because of understanding, because of increased efficiency and with optimum energy when we work. And please note, not only with all these, but one extra word, not overdoing anything. Everything at its optimum level will definitely bring us wonderful results. And Bhagavan has been doing that way, therefore he is called Samihanaha. Every part of Bhagavan's expression is so perfect. Right? Therefore he is called Samihanaha. With this, the shloka ends, and therefore we will continue the 48th shloka in our next series. I am sure you have been going through the Bhagavad Gita chanting classes. This month we will be taking up the 5th and the 6th chapter from the 16th of March to 25th of March. We will be learning 5th and 6th chapter. Please join for these classes and grow along with us. Thank you very much for being patient enough and listening. And congratulations to all of you who have been with us for the past 100 classes, which will again continue till we finish Vishnu Sahasranama. We will conclude this series with Nama Sankirtana. Please join us. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Svabhavat करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।